So now for our review of The Raven. Quote The Raven, nevermore.
I think that's an apt description for this movie. It's
Maybe.
nevermore.
I think so. I think
Like the narrator of the famed Edgar Allan Poe poem, I feel as though my soul was trapped inside that theater for 2 hours as they continuously battered and beat the legend of one of my favorite writers of all time, Edgar Allan Poe.
Right.
John Cusack is Edgar Allan Poe. That was the tagline on the poster. I think we should look up the word to be, maybe, just a little bit, because John Cusack equals Edgar Allan Poe, not so much. You know what? I'm going to calm down for a quick second. Carl, you go with your review, because I got to come back down to this.
I like that. When I first saw the trailer, I felt like John Cusack was going to portray some like dark, moody, kind of emo, goth type character, because Edgar Allan Poe, usually people view him that way. People who don't know much about him usually view him that way. And it wasn't like that. He was just a kind of person who has had bad luck with his life, and he writes that way. I think one person in the movie says specifically like he was cursed or had been cursed with a bad or dark past, and that's the only way he can express his emotions or his feelings through his works. Yeah. But watching the movie, I did like it in some aspects, but I didn't like it in others. Like, I felt like this was a waste of time, but I did like the story, the idea of like a murder mystery, which is what it basically is a murder mystery. I just felt like they could have done this without referencing Edgar Allan Poe, maybe.
Yeah, no, it could have just been done about Poe's works if they wanted to do that without directly fighting Poe.
Yeah, it could have been a modern day.
And not for nothing, too. They focused, I brought this up in our preview when we reviewed the trailer. They focused on just the macabre aspect of Edgar Allan Poe, which is about this much. If you all can see this at home, my fingers aren't touching, but they look like they are. Yeah. That's how much Edgar Allan Poe is macabre.
Right.
And he did have a dark past. He also was, they do acknowledge some of the stuff, but the character flaws are not focused on in the film at all. No. The fact that he's addicted to opium for a part of his life. They even mention the opium.
Very briefly, but they focus more on him being an alcoholic.
Yeah, they do focus on the alcohol, but not only that, they do glorify him. Like, he's ripe with character flaws and everything like that. Yeah. You'd think they would have harped on that more, because the only redeeming quality this man really had was the fact that A, he came from a rich family, which is the only reason he kind of got by.
Which they only reference in the movie.
They kind of reference because they mention the fact that his mother owns a theater. Right. That's other than that.
But they make him sound
and that he went to they mention the fact that he went to West Point.
Which was nice, because I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and he was expelled, which is true, but I wish they would have gone into the why he was expelled, because it's hilarious. Yeah. But the other thing with it, too, is just John Cusack. Normally I don't really have too much of a problem with him. I mean, he's legendary for the stuff that he did in the 80s. Like, he became like an icon because of this stuff. Right. Even during, Grosse Pointe Blake in the late 90s, still a good actor. This one just overacting to William Shatner levels. Like that scene in the bar, man. It's like,
where he not poor.
Yeah, and he's like, I will buy the next drink for whoever can finish this line. Quote the Raven. And he says it 9 times, and finally some French guy jumps in and says nevermore, and he starts calling everybody Philistines, kicked out of the bar, and it's just over the top, unnecessarily. Like, even for someone who's a dramatist.
I felt like the movie was 2 movies put into one. It was a murder mystery and almost a small biopic. And I wouldn't mind seeing a biopic on Edgar Allan Poe done correctly.
Oh my God!
But the movie could have been like a modern movie with Edgar Allan Poe's works being the serial killer's inspiration. Easily could. If anything, it could be a Criminal Minds episode.
I mean, and they've kind of done stuff. They've done stuff like this too, where they've kind of and not for nothing too. The killer, without going into who it is, I don't want to root for anybody who's going to actually go see this still. But the killer is obsessed with Poe throughout the entire time, and then at the end, when there's this final meeting between the minds,
revealing of the two.
Yeah, exactly. The two finally meet, which is bound to happen in any of these type of things. Otherwise, there'd be no conflict resolution.
Right.
But the killer then just goes. He starts referencing Jules Verne and talking about how he's gonna go to Paris.
Which when I heard that, I was like, I'm thinking, and I think they did this purposely, so they would think, so the killer's gonna survive.
Yeah, but
set up a sequel. That's what they start doing.
And not for nothing though, but I was like, so then are you obsessed with Poe, or are you just obsessed with good writing? And I was like, and why would you jump to Jules Verne, who has no macabre stuff about him? Like, what are you going to do? Like, I'm going to build a time machine that kills people. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, you have Robert Louis Stevenson who's writing around this same time. That'd probably been a better jump too. It's just and it's that kind of ill-researched, bad writing, and not only that. The writers for this film had the audacity, and I use this term, I use the term audacity with, usually I'm not a big fan of using that. They had the audacity in this film to try to write stories that Poe allegedly wrote.
Oh yeah.
And then refer to themselves as geniuses. It was their masterwork. It was a
you're
swan
talking
song.
the end.
Because the killer starts making Poe rewrite some of his works, and not only that, create new works, because he's supposed to be inspiring
Right.
at the same time,
Right.
stealing from him. The stuff that they wrote, utter just trash, utter trash. It sounded nothing like Poe. There was nothing
Right.
of his poetry, nothing of his form, and they have all the characters going, "This is your masterpiece," and I'm just like, what crap. There's nothing else to say. It was crap.
Yeah.
And I'm just absolutely appalled by the movie. And you know what? Because it's Edgar Allan Poe, I'm going to give it red to yellow. If it's ever on TV, sit through it, see how right I am.
Yeah.
But don't buy the DVD. Don't go see it now. Nothing.
I'm gonna go one step up. I'm gonna say wait for the DVD, and I don't even think you should go buy the DVD. Not buy the DVD or rent a DVD.
Blockbuster table.
No, not even that.
$15 table.
No, not even that. If you have Netflix or some type of instant service like Hulu now offers one too, wait till it's on instant. Have that part of your.
Oh,
monthly.
it's coming like hold on, wait, it came out 2 weeks ago. Check it out in June. It'll be there.
I'm thinking August, end of the summer.
Yeah, no, it'll be there.
Here's my core about the movie though. It should have been put in back in February, or it should have been put in, I think, September.
Well, it was supposed to be. This has been like one of those perpetual releases,
Yeah.
and they've been waiting for a time when I guess there was enough of a lull between movies. Because you'll notice it came out between John Carter, which was supposed to be the first summer blockbuster, even though it started early, for whatever happened to it. But that
But
Disney
Hunger Games was supposed to be the big.
Disney and Hunger Games, yeah. John Carter was like the start. Then you had Hunger Games, and then there was this void, and that's where Raven came in. That's
But the
when it
Raven
premiered.
came in. What I think this is a week before the Avengers. That's just stupid.
2 weeks. 2 weeks before the
and
Avengers.
it came out with a bunch of other movies that did much better.
Yeah, because you had like Man and like a bunch of
Yeah.
other dramas and date
Yeah.
movies and stuff like that. Because spring is good for date movies.
Yeah.
And then you had this movie, which is like I guess the gothic alternative. But they, with the rest of the summer being taken up by
Yeah.
superhuman blockbusters,
Yeah.
this was
I
the
just
only
felt
time
like-
it was going to come out
I
this
just felt
year.
it was the worst position for a movie
Yeah.
to be released. But
I think the only other position that would have been worse is having it run head up against Dark Knight Rises.
yeah. Well. Yeah.
But
Anyway, so that's it for our review of The Raven.
Yeah.
Nevermore. Just nevermore.
no, I'm thinking more. You know what?
Never
Can,
again.
can we come back to this real quick? Because I have a fitting punishment for the writers of this movie. We're going to wall them up, leave one last brick, and we're going to say, for the love of God, I'll never make another movie like this, and I won't brick you up. And then when they say that, I'm going to brick them up anyway. Go read Cask of Amontillado if you didn't get it.
All right.
We'll be right back.
Yeah. So, are you going to help me out with the closing here?
Still talking about Battleship?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to stay with this.
So what to expect when you're expecting green and yellow? Go see it.
Whoa,
green and
whoa,
yellow.
no, Lappers, no. Ah. Dang
Died?
it.
You died?
Yeah, I died on the inside, too.